I want to introduce Jon Riedel. His course is Blue Ice and Fossil Water, the glacial history of climate change and the importance of glaciers to freshwater resources in the North Cascades. His course will start on March 23rd. In response to numerous requests to have more regional courses, we bring Dr. Riedel's course on the effect of climate change on our glaciers. He is the founding member of the Skagit Climate Science Consortium, which concentrates on the Skagit River watershed. Welcome, Jon.
All right, well, thank you, and thanks to ALL for inviting me to teach this class. As you were saying, this is a course focused on climate change and glaciers and water resources, and we will focus our attention in the two-session course on the Skagit River watershed, pictured here, which is the largest in draining into Puget Sound. It's been the focus of my research for about 40 years on glaciers and climate, and has a really rich climate history and includes 377 active glaciers. Now, the two-session course will start with a focus on how glaciers are so closely tied to climate, why they're so sensitive to changes in the climate that we're observing. We'll move on from this understanding to look at how glaciers flow, how they operate, how they change the landscape, and how they leave records of climate change that scientists like I can study. We'll move then from an understanding of how glaciers work to an analysis of how they've affected the landscape of Skagit Valley. And we'll focus really on some of the research I've done reconstructing climate from different deposits, from different advances of glaciers. And we're looking at a section here along the Skagit River that was deposited during the last ice age, when Skagit Valley was largely a series of lakes. And what we do with these deposits is uncover what we call macrofossils. These are the remains of plants and animals that aren't fossilized, but by recovering these specimens, we can reconstruct the climate. And so the plot on the right here is a reconstruction we did in a recent publication on the climate of Skagit Valley about 23,500 years ago. And so the course will move on in the second session to continue this story from the Ice Age to modern times. And we'll look at this very rich record of climate change as revealed by these buried forests in front of some of our glaciers. And we'll move on from that eventually to look at modern evidence of climate change and glacier recession. These are images taken of South Cascade Glacier in 1960 and in 2016. And then we'll conclude first by looking at why glaciers are so important for our regional water supplies in Skagit Valley. We've done some research recently looking at how that glacial meltwater component to the Skagit River flow has changed in the summer.